Hello, hello. Today I want to talk to you about how I partner with nature and the spirit of the land to help my clients give birth to sanctuaries that nourish their souls, nourish their properties, and lay the foundations for resilience, lay the foundation for um, the right alignment, lay the foundations for abundance to flow through, for health, for healing, and and more importantly, an integration, a grounding in, an embodiment that is so needed for us in this time to experience in order for our souls to unfold. So, what does that look like on a practical level? Well, first of all, what is partnering with nature? What is partnering with the spirit of the land? I received guidance prior to really embarking on this new journey as an architectress. Um, I received guidance from Gaia and the nature spirits to totally transform the way we practice architecture. And the nature spirits, flat out told me we need to be part of the design process, and they want to be at the design table. So many architects, firms, you can imagine the big boardroom or the meeting room. You've got the client at the table, you've got the architect and her team at the table, you've got maybe the engineer, you've got the builder, maybe someone, the city official, if it's let's say a public building, and on and on. Well, what about bringing the spirit of the land to the table? What about bringing nature to the design table? And I'm not saying this in a conceptual, poetic way. I mean it flat right out. And how do we do this? We do this through accessing our imagination, our intuition, tapping into our soul, tapping into that connection that we have to source, to the depths of the earth, to the wisdom below, above and below, right? And and we're able to receive guidance, receive quite practical guidance from the spirit of the land when it comes to project development. It opens the way for a more easeful process, and on the side of the architect, in terms of looking at it from our perspective, and in terms of our workflow, visioning and partnering with the spirit of the land helps to open the way for our ease in the workflow, and to receive visions that are totally aligned with the energetics of our properties, or our clients' properties. So receiving visions for what? Receiving visions for a garden, receiving visions for the shape of a roof, receiving visions for the shape and form and number of windows, receiving visions for the direction and orientation of a building. Doesn't always have to be, if you're wanting to be sensitive to sustainable design, I challenge you and say you don't have to worry about always facing south. The spirit of the land actually may guide you in a different direction and say, nah, you better be facing north. Or, I mean, they're not, the spirit of the land's not speaking in such a threatening manner, although I have encountered some properties where there were quite angry beings. The spirit of the land was quite angry because of the years and years and years of damage that humanity had done to it, because of the disrespect, the dishonoring. Um, so, so what we receive in terms of practical guidance from the spirit of the land is vision for, let's say, the optimal location of a home, of a dream home for your clients. Um, the optimal location for pathways, for roadways, for the garage, for garden, for the central library of the community. So it is so critical to step into that space of alignment as an architect and pave the way in such a way that almost like you're leading a ceremony. And of course, all of you, based on your signature energy, will be and are doing it in your own unique way. Um, but there are some critical anchor points that form the essential structure to make the magic happen, okay, with your clients and with their properties. And I'm opening a small window into this world of how I work. And I hope that it will benefit you. I know it will. I feel very deeply, very strongly that you are ready. You are ready as a woman architect, designer, landscape architect, interior designer to cross a certain threshold and start speaking about the spiritual energetics of place, the spiritual energetics of your clients, their souls, and weaving all of that wisdom into a totally new way of designing. So there's some steps that I go through, and I want to mention I'm going to be hosting a free online studio on Monday, April 11th at 9 a.m. Eastern. I will pass on some information. You can go to my website. I'll be hosting a free webinar where I'm going to open up more of the details of how I work and how you can create a healing sanctuary that attracts abundance, vitality, and joy. So I'll be talking about some essential keys there. But today, really stepping back and taking a look at nature, the spirit of the land. How do we connect with the spirit of the land and nature as designers to really receive the vision that is aligned with our clients' souls? Now, when you create a sacred vessel between you and your clients and the land, and from the get-go, you carve out that space and you include your clients and the spirit of the land as critical participants, then I personally work with an opening ceremony. And we pay gratitude to the land, and we identify some intentions and also some obstacles that the clients are facing. I often work with couples, and there can be a whole number of karmic issues that challenges that can come up when looking for land, when purchasing land, when wanting to design a dream home. It can be really challenging for couples, especially if they have children as well. Or it's actually not important. You could be at any age and any point in your life. It can be challenging, really challenging to design a home together. As an example, when you're in a group, if you're a community of, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, a core leadership circle of building a community, that also has equal challenges, and so on and so on. And so it's so important to create a spiritual energetic structure of union, of connection, of a certain caliber and coherence that creates a solid structure for the magic to happen, for the wisdom and vision to come through. Now, us humans, with our beautiful minds, tend to assume that we can build anything, anywhere, anytime, on any given property. And so my clients often get really excited and they're like, oh, I want to do this there. I want to do that there. Take a look at this magazine picture. Like I'm like, no, we got to do this here. We got without asking the land, the spirit of the land for permission. Okay. Without giving an offering, without acknowledgement, right? And some of my clients are conscious that they're already doing this kind of work, but it does take a step to, there's a gap. They're doing, some of them are, soul-centered healers, transformational leaders that are doing their spiritual work. But when it comes to building your own home, and I'll be honest, I'm currently building my own home with my partner, with my husband. We have a son, he's 8 years old. We are facing a lot of challenges, and there are times, and I may actually even seek out some support from some of my colleagues. A third party is always super helpful to mediate. To mediate and to balance the male and female, and to balance the different characters within the relationship. So yeah, you could be doing your yoga, you could be doing your meditation already. I mean, this is speaking on on behalf of the clients, or to the clients. But bringing all of that wisdom into the act of building is a whole other ball game. It's a whole other ball game. So there are some essential elements that need to be adjusted and anchored in order to pave the way for the visioning process to occur. And I create time containers. Something I've witnessed with architects is, I mean, sure, we do have contracts that have times and schedules, but often they get drawn out due to over design, over drawing of layouts. They just get drawn out. They really get drawn out, and something that you budgeted to end, a project to end, after 3 months, ends up ending after 6 months. That's because there is a loose intentional container, or non-intention. There's a loose energetic container. We have the power through our consciousness, through our word, to set intentions. And now this is where us as the new Earth Architectresses have the power to be holding that torch, holding that stake in the ground for our clients. Super important energetically. So partnering with the spirit of the land. The land is acknowledged. We're caring for the land. We're asking the land questions. We're asking for guidance. Now, the guidance can come through in many different shapes and forms, but the key tool, the key bridge, the key catalyst for receiving vision is to really tap into your imagination. For so many years now, in the old paradigm, we've been taught that our imagination is worth nothing. We've been taught that our imagination is worth nothing. Oh, it's just a figment of your imagination. Oh, you're just imagining things. The imagination is a powerful, powerful tool. I mean, Einstein talked about this a lot. And so when we're tapping into our capacity to imagine, we then start to play with the spirit realm. We then start to play with the nature spirits on the land. We start to be able to receive information from Gaia. And they love it. They enjoy it. And they'll be honest. They'll be frank. They'll be providing important steps along the way. But in order for us to be open to receiving this information, all of us, clients, architect, whoever is involved in the project team, we must be open to how it comes. And there are so many different ways that the messages can arise, can come. We can experience synchronicities. Um, Spirit animals may come in certain moments of a visioning session or on a drive home. You may hear a song with certain lyrics, and this goes for the architect and the client, the builder, engineer, whoever is part of the team. Um, you may hear a song with specific lyrics passing on a certain message on a drive back from a site visit. You may receive clear vision. If you're a seer, if you're a clairvoyant, you may see the building, see the garden. You may see some relationship dynamics between your clients. You may see, this often happens. It's happened a few times with my clients where the vision for the building doesn't come yet immediately, because there are some other pieces on the property that need attention and care. And for example, maybe a small altar needs to be built on a certain part of the property, or something needs to be acknowledged, or something that they never imagined before needs to get designed and perhaps even built first. Like, oh my God, the kindergarten? We need to do the homeschooling kindergarten for the community first before we think about designing our house or doing an addition on our existing house, etc., etc. So it is so important to enter the sacred vessel without being attached to our what our mind is saying, right? And often that comes out of fear, survival consciousness, and I'm talking about both sides, talking about the architect and the client. We need to really be stepping into this sacred container, without any preconceived ideas about how things should be. Even with when it comes to bringing all of our knowledge of energetics. Perhaps you are exploring and studying feng shui, biogeometry, house healing, vastu. Like, there's so many, geomancy, and those are all valuable. But entering into the container, entering like a child, with your imagination and open to anything is possible, is the best place to be. And there are preparations that I lead my clients on to do this, to be ready. Okay. And it's not a one-time thing. It's a muscle to be exercised, and it is critical for empowering them so that they can be the best stewards of their land. Am I saying that, when we go through this process, that everything is going to be all rainbows and butterflies, and they're not going to run into any problems down the road? No. What I'm talking about is, because construction can be challenging. There's budget involved, finding the right materials. In this day and age, the entire world is going through a lot of huge economic crisis, on so many levels, and it's beginning to be harder and harder to find certain resources, materials, and so there's a lot of decision making that needs to be made at each phase, each step of the way. And what often happens is, in a more conventional design approach, the design gets propelled, motivated by, sparked by by unaligned intentions on part of the clients and also the architect. Maybe the architect is secretly wanting this project to be their prize project, and is like trying to like really sneak in every single you know architectural fanciful wonder. I mean, if it's a high level, high paying client, right? And they really just want this project for the magazines. What's your motivation? Is it because you want to be famous? This architects have this. I mean, of course, architects come in all different shapes and forms, but the leaders of firms of we and it's I get it. We want to create form. We want to create beauty. We want to accomplish this. We want to show the world what is possible to build. And so I don't mean this in the sense that, oh, architects must be more humble and, not shine their light. And I don't mean that, but what's the motivation behind the project, right? Um, and likewise for the clients, I find so many times that clients on a subconscious level are designing for their parents on a subconscious level, or designing for society, wanting to create their house in order to impress others in their community, or right. And sometimes it can be so subtle, like you would have never guessed. And so it's important as the new Earth Architectress to be listening to one of my elder mentors in a business coaching group that I'm in. Connor Sauer she's a phenomenal elder and an expert in human design. She always reminds us about this act of listening and being able to read the field. And so that is your job as the new Earth Architectress, to read the field, create the anchor, and read the field of energies that are coming through. And some of the energies coming from the spirit of the land may not be so pleasant. Like, let's talk about that, the dark forces. There is a part of me that, I hit a recent threshold where there are moments where it's like, I don't know if I'm equipped to handle these dark forces. It can be scary. And they can come in all shapes and forms. And the more I anchor in and trust my connection to source, the more I work with my shadows, the more I take care of myself, do self-care, the more ready I am to hold space for energies that may not be so pleasant, and that energies that at first may seem too overwhelming to work with, and to perhaps transmute. They too want to be part of the design process, in the sense that they need to be heard as well. Our shadows can be some of the darkest, grittiest, dirtiest things, and we don't want to be looking at them. The land is like us. The land is a body. The land is a body, and the land is our mirror. We attract a certain property and a certain scenario of building a home, renovating a home. Perhaps you've attracted an existing home, garden, community, trailer house, trailer park. There's so many different models of living. You attract all of these for a reason. you have an energetic blueprint that vibrates at a certain frequency to attract your environment, to attract the land. And so that is why it is ever more critical to be tuning into the spirit of the land and communicating with the land through your imagination, through your spiritual gifts. You all have spiritual gifts. You all have them. Some of them may be a bit hidden away. Some parts of your shadow may be suppressing them. Some of them may feel vague. I get this a lot, like this fuzziness, vague. You're unsure. Can I trust the message I've received? But you all have it, and it is a gift that can be exercised like a muscle. And it is integral to the new way of building. It is integral to the new way of building. So when my clients partner with me, when we go through this sacred journey that I lead them on, and we're working. Well, you'll find out in the webinar. I'm not gonna reveal that much. Join the webinar if you want to hear more about my unique process and how you can learn about the essential keys to create sanctuaries that attract abundance, vitality, and joy, and not only for yourself, but for your clients. I mean, this process has healed me as an architect on so many levels, And I'm excited to share more about that. It has a lot to do with creating boundaries. It has a lot to do with delineating what you're available for, what you're not available for, and being really crystal clear with the creation that you want to speak forth in this world. Really being clear with what your purpose is, really being clear with what your desires are and what makes you happy, what brings you joy. So my clients are, the way that we work is that then the vision comes, it unfolds as it's supposed to. It unfolds as it's supposed to. And what's so super awesome and amazing is that the vision sometimes comes through my clients and not myself. And they start sketching, they start drawing, they start dreaming. They wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, I just received vision. Their guides, their spirit guides come to them in the form of animal spirits, tree spirits, water, the elements, angelic beings, star beings, things that maybe, they not guys, but they can come in different forms. They can come in many different forms and ways. And so it, goes back to the listening. Like I would, if we talked about a percentage, right, of, for architects, I'd say, I'm just going to throw a number out there, 75% of the time, I think it's so critical for us to be listening, to be in a space of listening opposed to doing. So much time saved. The process becomes so much more easeful. I continue to amaze myself, be amazed at the more I anchor in this sacred structure, this sacred vessel, which is defined. There's a certain length of time that I produce or co-create with my clients, a conceptual to schematic design level of project. And this includes the landscape as well as the building. I include it all. It's all one big thumping, pumping organism. It's all one big orchestra, right? And sometimes we need to even pay attention to certain geomantic phenomenon in the region. And what I mean by that is maybe there's a sacred mountain off in the region that we need to go to. There was one moment where it was clear, I received vision that we needed to go totally off property, drive all the way to a sacred spring that people would fill up their big jugs of water to, and we needed to do ceremony there, and we needed to honor the water there and the water spirits, and we brought the water and did a healing ceremony all together. And it's, you know, being in the moment, being in the moment, being in the moment, listening, listening, listening to the signs. And a lot transforms for my clients in this process. Really, the point and the ultimate goal is to create architecture, indoors or outside, or indoors or outdoors, that anchors in your client's soul's purpose and highest potential, anchors in the best that they can be in this life, anchors in their dreams, and forms the way you carve the forms, the way you receive vision from the spirit of the land, listening for the cues. They all become like acupuncture points on the land, carving this great, beautiful work of art, this musical piece. And it can be so simple at times, and like over the top, amazing, organic, crazy form. Like, it doesn't matter. It's what's important is it going to nourish your client's souls. I always was never comfortable with the word style in architecture. I was always never comfortable with that word. And of course, I learned a lot from different styles of architecture, different eras, different expressions, and I knew there was something deeper behind that. And when I started to study Rudolf Steiner and studied organic architecture and did my studies in esoteric studies and looking at the kind of impulses that influence the consciousness of each and every culture, then I can start to go, okay, well, there's something valuable behind the styles. There's a reason why modernism got birthed, right? There's a reason there was an impulse behind Gaudi's work. It was important that it came at a certain time in the evolution of consciousness. But now we're really stepping into a new paradigm when it comes to forms, when it comes to creating architecture. And anything is possible. You notice that in people's clothing, right? Like anything. It's not like us women, we all need to wear the strapped up, whatever, the corset and, the perfect hat and the dress, although I wouldn't mind wearing one of those right now. Not sure about the corset part, but the whole beautiful, well-tailored, costume in a way. Now anyone can wear whatever they want, right? And so we're really stepping into this process of everybody's individual expression is shining. It's wanting to come forth, including your clients. So imagine, right? Imagine the quality of the signature energy of your client and the form that wants to be birthed there. And sometimes you'll need to guide your clients through, sometimes it's not always going to birth through your clients. You have the gift as a seer, um, as someone who can feel energy, who has a strong intuition, um, as the new Earth Architectress to really guide them through the best forms that are going to heal their souls. Colors, right? Colors in themselves is a whole language, right? A whole language. So, wrapping this up, it is so key to be creating this vessel, this sacred vessel, to connect with the spirit of the land and nature, to anchor in the blueprint that is going to support your clients in the long term. Really, this is long-term stuff. Now, I often give advice and exercises for my clients to do so they are more equipped to communicate with the land. There was an older paradigm, and there it has its place. It has its place where, let's say, the shaman of the community, or someone who could clear the land, a seer, would come onto your property, do all the clearing work that needed to happen. We see it in indigenous communities a lot, all different cultures in Europe, in the Middle East. They'd come, they know things, right? They have all these gadgets and tools and crystals and smudging, and they're doing these things, they're making prayers. But if you notice, and again, it depends on the shaman, quote unquote, or the guide. It's usually the image of that single person going on the land, clearing it, and the owners of the land or whoever is living there may not necessarily know exactly what they did. And there is a certain amount of magic that you, as the architect, will bring forth, and maybe not mention everything to your clients. And I know there's this question comes a lot to me from architects that I'm mentoring, people who have done my online course, conversations I've had with my clients, where at least the ones that are designers, where they're not comfortable talking about the spiritual energetics of the land, and not comfortable about speaking that. Maybe that's I'm gonna not note this, speaking to clients about spiritual stuff. Okay, it's like, oh, what if they get creeped out by me? What if this? I think that's a topic. I'm gonna save this for another episode. This is a really important topic. It has a lot to do with you and what you want to do, and what kind of people you want to work with, and it also requires some perception shifts, and a knowledge that we are not living in the old paradigm anymore, and that more and more people are open to this. So I'm going to leave it there. Now, where was I? Oh, there's so much. There's so much I want to share. I think this gives you a good idea, a window into the benefits for your clients and for yourself to work in this way. I will be talking about more details and revealing some more keys in my webinar on I keep on saying March. I'm still in March. April 11th on Monday. Okay, so that's next week at 9 a.m. I'm just jotting this down, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And so you'll get the information soon. Go to my website at aisharosemelodyhassan.com and you can get your access, or go to my Instagram or Facebook. So I hope this was helpful. I am so eager to hear from you about, what's brewing inside you as an architect, a designer, someone who's really feeling the call to be pioneering this work in your own unique way. I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message, and bye for now, and talk to you all next time.